What's up, guys? Welcome back. If you're looking for ways to elevate your Thanksgiving dinner this year, I've got just what you need. Today, I'll be showing you how to make seafood stuffing. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. I'm going to show you guys how to make a real quick at-home seafood stock. Now, this is kind of cheating. We're going to take a couple shortcuts here, but this is the way to do it if you want to save some time, and saving time is important on Thanksgiving. To bring some extra seafood flavor to the party, we're going with some Better Than Bouillon lobster base, and we're also going to use these leftover crab shells that we had in the freezer. If you haven't seen my king crab video, I've linked to that in the description box as well. We're also going to go in with some vegetables for our stock. So we're going to chop up some carrots. No need to peel them because they're just going to cook down in that stock and release their flavor. We're going in with 2 stalks of celery as well. And we're also going to add 1 onion to the party. No right or wrong way to do this, guys. Just cut it in half, peel the skin off. We're going to throw it right into our pot. We also have some herbs that we're going to use. We have some thyme. We're going to go in with some peppercorns as well. As always, guys, the specific measurements and ingredients are provided for you in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. So into a large stock pot, we're going in with our crab shells. We're going to put that over medium heat, stir them around a little bit to let them start releasing their flavor into the bottom of the pot. And then we're going in with those veggies, the onions, the carrots, the celery, the thyme, the peppercorns, 1 good tablespoon of lobster base. And then we're going to cover that with store-bought chicken or seafood stock or broth. Doesn't really matter. We just want to get a nice flavorful broth to use for our stuffing. Now I'm going to go ahead and say it because I know someone's going to say it in the comments. I'm going to keep calling this stuffing because that's how I grew up. That's what we called it. But really, I guess technically this is dressing because this is not going inside the bird. So please forgive me in advance. But back to that broth. You want that to boil for about an hour or so. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and prep our veggies. As you can see here, we have the Trinity, which is comprised of bell pepper, celery, and onion, along with some herbs and aromatics. So just get in there and give everything a nice rough chop. You want nice fine pieces on your veggies. After about an hour or so, we're going to strain off our broth. That stuff, my friends, is liquid gold. It's going to make your stuffing or dressing taste absolutely phenomenal. 100 times better than what you can get at the store. The store-bought stock is fine if you got to use it, but this stuff is so much better. Moving on to our seafood, we have 1 pound of bay scallops, a ½ pound of lump crab meat, and 1 pound of medium-sized shrimp that I've cut into bite-sized pieces. Basically just cut them in half, as you can see here. And that is the seafood I'm using, but you can use whatever seafood you like. Crawfish would be great as well here if you can find those. And now for the star of the show, my friends. This is the best seafood seasoning I've used in a very long time. This is from the Juicy Crab. I have a link to it with a discount code in the description box. Please give them a try. It's fantastic on seafood boils and basically everything seafood, including the seafood stuffing. Now, speaking of stuffing, you got some options here. You can toast your own bread, but personally, I'm a big fan of saving time when you're prepping all this food for Thanksgiving. So we're going to use the bag stuff here. This is my favorite brand to use. You have different options. You can go with the wheat bread, the white bread, or even cornbread. And today we'll be using a combination of cornbread and the traditional. So first things first, in a Dutch oven over medium heat, we need to melt 1 stick of butter. Then we're going in with our Trinity. That's the onions, the bell pepper, the celery. Give that a good mix, and we're going to cook that down in that butter until it's nice and soft and tender. We want to go in with that thyme as well. That's going to add some nice flavor. You can use fresh or dried. I prefer fresh, but if all you got is dried, go in with a little dried thyme. A little dried thyme never hurt nobody. Then we need to start seasoning this. So I'm going in with my all-purpose seasoning, which is a blend of salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. And of course, our sponsor, the Juicy Crab seasoning. This stuff is phenomenal, guys. You got to give it a try. Again, the link is in the bio for that, so check that out. So we just want to let this cook down for a few minutes. Give that a good mix. Allow all those flavors to come together like we're about to do for Thanksgiving. Your house is going to be smelling absolutely fantastic. And now, my friends, it's time to go in with the seafood. So we're going in with the bay scallops and the shrimp. Hit that with the Juicy Crab seasoning as well, along with a little bit of AP seasoning. Now you'll notice we didn't add the crab meat just yet, and that's because the crab meat comes pre-cooked, so it's no need for us to add it so early. We'll add it here in a few minutes. We just want to give this a good mix and allow that seafood to begin the cooking process. Make sure your oven's preheated to about 375 degrees. Get in there with your rubber spatula and scrape the sides and the bottom of the pot just to make sure nothing's sticking. We don't want anything to burn here. Once we have everything well combined, we're going in with 1/4 cup of diced parsley. That's going to add a pop of color and some nice fresh herb flavor. Give that a good mix. And now, my friends, we're going in with that 1/2 pound of lump crab meat. You could also use claw meat for this as well. I realize crab meat's super expensive right now, but it's totally worth it for Thanksgiving. And the crab claw meat is quite a bit cheaper per pound than the lump. So use whatever you can find. Both will work just fine in this recipe. So get in there and give everything a good mix. And now it's about time to start going in with our broth and our bread products. We're gonna add a total of 4 cups of broth to this recipe, but you wanna add it a little bit at a time. So go in with some of your bread, then go in with the broth and keep folding and mixing until you get the consistency that you're looking for. And nobody likes a dry stuffing, so just keep adding a little bit of broth as needed, folding everything together. Once you get it right where you want it, you wanna start tasting as you go and adjust the flavor to your preference. We still have a little bit of seasoning to add here. We also still need to add a little bit of that thyme that we chopped up earlier. So as you can see here, I'm adding a little bit more bread, then a little bit more broth. Again, I'm using half cornbread and half traditional. Now we're gonna go in with that thyme. We're gonna season it with a little bit more all-purpose seasoning. Give that a good mix, and then it's super important, guys, to taste this for seasoning and adjust as needed before you add the egg. We are gonna add 1 egg to this here in just a second, but you wanna get in there with a spoon or a fork and give this a good taste test just to see where you're at, and then adjust the seasoning to your preference. Once you have the seasoning right where you want it, we're gonna go in with that 1 beaten egg and fold that in. That's gonna help bind everything together once this goes into the oven. So just make sure your oven's preheated to 375, and then we're gonna fill up this 9x11 casserole dish with this fantastic seafood stuffing. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever tried seafood stuffing or if you plan to try this recipe for Thanksgiving. Once you have the seafood stuffing in the casserole dish, use your spatula to flatten it out, and then I like to take the spatula and kind of create some ridges. That's important because they get nice and crispy when they go in the oven, and I really enjoy that part of the stuffing. So just an optional technique there to get some nice crispiness on your stuffing when it goes in the oven. And then we're gonna pop it in that 375-degree oven for about 45 to 60 minutes, or until the top is nice and brown and crispy and the inside is about 150 to 160 degrees internal temperature. You want your stuffing to still be moist, but you want everything to be cooked through. And now, my friends, it's time to plate this up. It's the moment of truth. We're going in for a little taste test here in just a second. Brace yourself for a trademark money shot. You can see the seafood and all the flavor all throughout this seafood stuffing. This is gonna be the star of your Thanksgiving table, I promise. Let me know in the comments what you think. And here we go for the taste test. Moment of truth, let's see what we got. Oh man, this stuff is good. You guys have got to give this a try. Thanks again to our sponsor, Juicy Crab, for the fantastic seasoning. Make sure you give your boy a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and that bell to enable notifications. And as always, thank you for your support.